All right, let's dive right into this explainer and figure out how to take your education entirely into your own hands using AI. We've all been handed this incredibly traditional roadmap for learning, right? Sit in class, take notes, pass the test. But today, we're going to completely tear up that old script. We have access to tools right now that are literally better than any classroom in history, and it is time we start leveraging them.
Just think about self-taught legends for a second. Guys like Henry Ford, Walt Disney, Elon Musk. The system called them dropouts, but history calls them legends. Henry Ford left school at 15 to teach himself mechanics on a farm. Walt Disney dropped out of high school at 16. Elon Musk taught himself to program when he was just 12 years old. They didn't just sit back passively and memorize what they were told by the traditional school system. No, they took action, they built their own curriculums, and they solved actual problems. And honestly, the reason this active approach is so incredibly vital right now is because the school system's obsession with rote memorization has created an entire generation trapped in something called shelf help. It's this addiction to reading business books, binging informative podcasts, and buying all these masterclasses without ever actually applying the knowledge. If we're being completely honest with ourselves, most of us have a digital graveyard of courses we swore we'd use but never did. It feels super productive in the moment, but it's totally an illusion. So, to permanently escape this trap, we're going to use the SELF framework to shift from passive consumption to active AI-assisted execution. Here's our agenda for today. Number 1, the shelf help trap. 2, select. 3, extract. 4, live it. And 5, forge it. Let's get right into it. Section 1, the shelf help trap. Let's look at exactly why traditional learning fails us. The root of the problem is really in the methods we inherited from when we were kids. Just look at the stark difference here between just-in-case learning and just-in-time learning. In school, we're basically taught to memorize random historical facts just in case we might need them someday for, a trivia game. But in reality, we should be intensely focused on just-in-time learning. That means acquiring the exact skills required to solve the immediate problems staring you in the face. If you learn how to hire an employee because you desperately need to hire someone tomorrow, your brain retains that info completely differently because it's tied to immediate execution, not some hypothetical future. Moving to Section 2, Select. This is all about just-in-time learning and letting AI curate your curriculum. So this is where we stop letting algorithms just randomly feed us whatever they want, and we start intentionally picking what we need. And it completely flips the script on how most people use artificial intelligence. Step 1 is straightforward. State your current problem. But step 2? This is the magic. You let AI interview you. Instead of just asking ChatGPT for some generic answers, tell it your goal and instruct the AI to interview you about your gaps, your business, and your unique context. Have it ask you multiple choice questions to figure out exactly where you're struggling. And that allows the AI to complete step 3, which is generating a highly targeted custom learning list built just for you. But listen, the absolutely crucial point to remember here is garbage in equals garbage out. You have to answer the AI's interview questions honestly to get a great curriculum. If you give it vague answers, you're going to get a really vague reading list. And when you finally get that customized list of podcasts, books, and courses, you have to pick just one resource to start with. Seriously, do not try to consume everything at once, or you're going to plunge right back into overwhelm. All right, Section 3, Extract. We are moving from just being interested to being obsessed. Study, don't read. Now that you've selected your single resource, we've got to overhaul how you consume it. Think about the difference between reading and studying. Most people read a nonfiction book like it's a novel, right? Consuming it cover to cover, almost like fast food, just looking for a quick dopamine hit of motivation. But to see real change, you've got to study the material with absolute obsession. Interested people just watch from the sidelines. Obsessed people change the world. You aren't reading for entertainment anymore. You're hunting for specific information that you can extract and implement today. And here's how you build that into a practical routine with 4 studying non-negotiables. Number 1, the daily dose. Keep it manageable, like 10 pages a day, so your brain can actually process and consolidate it overnight. Number 2, come prepared. Sit down with intention, ready to capture ideas. Number 3, rewrite in your own words. Don't just mindlessly drag a highlighter across a page. Internalize the core ideas by physically typing or writing them out exactly as you understand them. And number 4, pick one action item. Again, don't try to boil the ocean here. Just aim to get 1% better every single day. Actually, if you want to take this to the next level, you can automate your daily drip using AI. You can literally prompt an AI to scrape relevant podcasts, expert profiles, and specific newsletters to deliver a customized 10-minute daily brief to you every single morning. Think about it. You get to feed your mind with highly concentrated, relevant knowledge while having your morning coffee, completely cutting out the toxic noise and clickbait of a standard social media feed. It's a total game changer.
Section 4. Live it. The 48-hour rule. Because momentum comes from movement. So, knowledge flowing passively into your brain is exactly where self-help starts, which means we must aggressively transition to real-world action. 48. That number is everything. If you learn a new tactic and you do not act on it within 48 hours, it is officially self-help. Information has a very strict shelf life. When you extract that one action item we just talked about, you have to put that action directly into your calendar. Don't just toss it on a generic to-do list where it's inevitably going to go to die. Schedule the execution. Momentum doesn't come from sitting around waiting for motivation to strike. Momentum is created by movement.
Let me ask you a question. Do you actually understand how a zipper works? I mean, it seems simple, right? Well, a famous Yale study asked people this exact question. Most people confidently said yes, but when they were asked to physically break down the mechanics of the teeth and the slider, they completely fell apart. This study highlights a really dangerous cognitive bias. We falsely believe we deeply understand things simply because we recognize them. But recognizing a business strategy in a book is not the same thing as knowing how to execute it in the real world.
To guarantee you've actually absorbed the knowledge and avoided that zipper trap, you need to use the mirror test. Step 1. Teach your newly learned concept to someone else. Step 2. Have them repeat it back to you. Step 3. Identify your gaps. If you explain a new marketing framework to a colleague and they can't accurately repeat the core concept back to you, you haven't truly learned it yet. And you know what? You can even do this with AI. Use a voice-to-text tool. Explain the concept to your AI and ask it to grade your explanation against the original source material to find your blind spots. It's amazing. And finally, Section 5, forge it. Achieving mastery by practicing until you literally can't get it wrong. This is the lifelong pursuit of absolute mastery over the skill you've just learned. As Bruce Lee famously implied, it's not about knowing 10,000 different things. He said, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." While most people will practice a new skill just until they get it right once and then immediately move on to the next shiny object, true professionals practice until they simply cannot get it wrong. They build automatic, unshakable reliability. And here is what that escalating timeline of mastery actually looks like in practice. It starts with the famous 10,000 hours, which is a great start for sure, but it's really only level 1. From there, we move to 1,000 days of pure dedication, which is roughly 24,000 hours. Then 100 months, hitting 73,000 hours. And finally, the true benchmark of a master, 10 years or over 80,000 hours of relentless focus. Real mastery requires a decade of dedication to one domain, running this exact SCLF framework over and over again. AI can absolutely speed up your feedback loop, but at the end of the day, you still have to put in the reps. Which brings us to our final and arguably most important thought. What problem are you solving right now? What is the one thing you are going to select and study today to bypass the course graveyard? The tools at our fingertips have literally never been more powerful, and the blueprint is sitting right in front of you. So how will you use this framework to stop passively